It really is a cautionary tale because he's like, listen, the only time that you can and should have sex is if you're married. But also, on second thought, don't ever have sex because you're going to have a kid. There's no other way around it.
Imagine some school in Utah. Come at me, Utah. If you're from Utah and I'm fucking insulting you, yeah, come at me. What are you going to do? What are you going to do? Not drink a beer and fucking have 8 children? Yeah, right. Yeah, come at me.
Not drink some coffee.
Anyway, I imagine like some like sex ed guidance counselor in Utah at some private school where they wear uniforms with fucking dumb collars. And the sex ed teacher is smoking a cigarette and it's just like, you kids want to know about sex? And then it just plays the song. And that's it. It's like, that's what you got to know about sex.
And
don't forget.
Cut to the kids' reactions and they're just like not blinking. Their eyes are just bloodshot and they're just like mouth agape.
Hello and welcome to the Lyric Boys podcast. I am Lucian Flores, and with me, as always, is Andrew Stieglitz. Andrew, say something to our lovely audience.
Something.
That's a man who follows orders, and ladies, get yourself a man like that. Am I right? So, listen. So this is the Lyric Boys podcast. If you've never listened to the podcast before, in it, we take one of our favorite bands, musicians, artists, and we pick 10 of their craziest, wildest, most insane, most absurd, funniest lyrics, and we talk about it. We dive into those lyrics. We use those lyrics as jumping off points for stories, jokes, or whatever. You know, this isn't a podcast where you're gonna learn something, but you're not gonna learn a whole lot of something. You know what I mean? Stieglitz, do you know what I mean?
Somewhat.
So, you know, there's other podcasts out there to talk about the artistry of lyrics and how meaningful songs are and how beautiful they are and what major and minor chords are. And baby, this is not that podcast. This is a podcast to unwind, relax, kick your feet up, and have a good time listening to two sultry boys talk lyrics, make jokes, and other things. Am I right?
Speaking of sultry, what artist do we have today on the pod?
Well, on the pod, we have old Blue Eyes himself, Frank Sinatra. So yeah, we are diving into 10 Frank Sinatra lyrics. And hey, it's okay if you don't know who Frank Sinatra is, because we got you today.
If there's anybody's legacy who should not be tarnished and disrespected by us, it's Frank Sinatra. But guess what? We're too fucking stupid and up our own asses to know that.
Well, listen, anyone who we talk about on this podcast is someone at least one of us genuinely enjoys, if not both of us. So, hey, this will be a good time. So, yeah, if you don't know who Frank Sinatra is, that is surprising. I think you probably spend too much time on TikTok or something. I don't know. If you're like maybe an 8-year-old who's somehow listening to this podcast, in which case that's weird, but also, hello, 8-year-old, we support you and your parents' advertising money, so keep listening.
They might be listening with their parents. I would love to have a family listen session with this podcast. Yeah. Not my family, somebody else's family.
Well, we were talking about maybe one day doing a Wiggles episode, so, you know, get excited.
I'd love the Wiggles. Dude, they're good, okay?
So Frank Sinatra, who is Frank Sinatra? Well, Frank Sinatra is one of the most famous humans of all time. In general, just one of the objectively most famous humans, at least
I'd say you
in
have
American history.
Who do you have? Jesus Christ. He's a pretty famous human. You have Mahatma Gandhi. You have the Buddha. You have Frank Sinatra. Those are the guys that are up there.
If you're thinking music history, Sinatra's up there with Elvis and he's up there with the Beatles. He's just a king, right? So Sinatra, Wikipedia describes his genres as traditional pop, easy listening, jazz, swing, and vocal jazz. And listen, easy listening, music that's easy to listen to, that's what you want. You just want to unwind. Once again, kick your feet up and just listen to some dope tunes. So Frank Sinatra is a powerhouse. He lived his years of his life were 1917. He was born in Hoboken, New Jersey.
1915.
1915, yes. Hoboken, New Jersey.
Already fucking ruining old Blue Eyes legacy.
See, you messed up too. And he died in 1998 in L.A. He won 11 Grammys. He released 59 studio albums.
That's fucking insane. For context, ladies and gentlemen, the Beatles, for example, they released like 10 albums, right?
Yeah. I
mean, most bands,
albums.
59 albums is 6 Beatles careers almost back to back.
So he released 59 studio albums, 297 singles, and he had a 54-year career. His biggest hits, he had 10 number 1 hits. He won 11 Grammys. You might recognize his songs, Strangers in the Night, Something Stupid, Theme from New York, New York, Fly Me to the Moon, Come Fly With Me, That's Life, My Way, amongst just so many songs. So I didn't really know, we were born in a post-Frank Sinatra world, or we had like 6 years of overlap with Frank Sinatra, right?
And boy, were those 6 years exciting.
Those are great years. I feel lucky to be alive for those 6 years.
We were alive at the same time as Frank Sinatra.
It is weird to think. I think that with Brando and Sinatra, I'm like, it's weird to think that we overlapped.
Yeah.
But Sinatra, he started his career in the 30s in this big band era. And then he switched to having a solo career. In 1943, he signed to Columbia Records, but at some records. Then in the 50s, he went to Vegas and had a residency. And that's when he used to start hanging out with the Rat Pack, which is Frank Sinatra, Dean Martin, Sammy Davis Jr., and just so many other popular, cool... Did I say juniors?
Sammy Davis Jr.'s.
I know. I don't know why that happened.
It's like Kendrick's producer saying beach houses.
Sammy Davis Jr.'s, Dean Martin's. Anyway. Frank Sinatra at this point was just like,
these are
fucking
the dumb
cool.
jokes you get, ladies and gentlemen.
Frank Sinatra was just very cool. He was someone who embodied, just well-dressed, cool, masculine, but made you feel when you were listening to his music. And apparently his career was in a little bit of a rut. And then, you know what this guy did?
What did he do?
He won an Academy Award and Golden Globe for Best Supporting Actor in the movie From Here to Eternity. So, dude can act. Apparently, he's won multiple Golden Globes for different movies. With the Rat Pack, he was in the original Ocean's 11. He was also had a Frank Sinatra show on ABC. So not only can this man sing, but he was just such a big personality that people wanted him all the time on screen, in their ears, wherever they can go. And you know what's crazy about Sinatra? He's a long career, right? And like I said, died in 98. So that stuff in the later career you wouldn't necessarily think was as good. You know what song came out in the late 70s, or in the album was 1980, but the first time he performed it was 1978? You know what song?
What song?
Theme from New York, New York. Did you know that song was from that late in his career? That, of course, is the famous song that's like, start spreading the news.
That does not sound like it's from that late in his career.
Blows my mind. Apparently, so that's from a Scorsese movie, and the original version is Liza Minnelli. And I did not know that. And then Sinatra has the most famous version of that song. 1985, he was awarded the Presidential Medal of Freedom by his boy Ronald Reagan. That's why I said Freegan.
Reagan.
And so
Sammy Davis Jr.'s.
I'm a mess. We haven't warmed up as much as normal this episode.
Yeah, we usually do vocal warm-ups like.
Yeah, we make our mouths just sound very wet before this. So what else do we want to know about Frank Sinatra? Italian American king. All right.
We stand an Italian American king.
We stand an Italian American king from Hoboken, right?
Yeah.
So, like one of us, Frank Sinatra also notoriously had alleged mafia connections. And so the FBI tracked him his whole life. The FBI had 2,403 pages on Sinatra.
Holy shit. I would fucking love to read those pages.
They tracked about his mob ties, his New Deal politics. So I guess he's a big FDR supporter in the early days, and then he became a little more conservative as he got older, and his friendship with JFK, and the FBI was like looking at all this stuff a little skeptical. It is rumored that Sinatra had ties to the Genovese crime family, and that they helped him get out of a record contract.
Mm-hmm. I've heard that rumor too.
Is in The Godfather the inspiration for, forget the character, but there's that singer Sinatra-esque type character in The Godfather who they get out of a record contract by putting the horse's head in bed with him, and then the record label exec freaks out. So that is rumored to be a Sinatra-esque thing. And not only is he famous, but his daughter is Nancy Sinatra, who has had big hits and amazing songs in her own career as well. So Frank Sinatra,
and he has Frank Sinatra Jr. as well.
Yeah, I don't know much about him.
Me neither.
But he's got other kids too. Nancy Sinatra just like,
yeah,
bang bang. These boots are made for walking. We know those songs. Anyway, that is Frank Sinatra. So he is just a powerhouse, an actor, a performer, a king, an Italian American king, a New Jersey native. Mm-hmm. I feel like this podcast has a lot of New Jersey natives on it. We've done Sinatra, we've done Bruce, we're about to do Billy Joel, who's not New Jersey,
Long Island,
Long Island, but like that vibe, that northeastern vibe. Look at that. So yeah, that is Frank Sinatra. Stieglitz, how much did you know of Frank Sinatra before like delving into this podcast and looking at his career?
I randomly over the course of this pandy had a went on a big Sinatra kick for a while. Just listening to like Apple Music and Spotify, they have like those like essentials playlists, or like on Apple Music they call it the essentials. So I was listening to that a lot, and I was like, damn, there's so many good songs here that I never really explored. And so I'm glad we're doing it on the podcast, because I mean, obviously everybody knows like New York, and like Fly Me to the Moon, and like those hits, and you hear them in like karaoke too. But like, exploring just a little bit under the surface was really fun, because I was like, fuck, it's not normally music I would seek out, but I genuinely enjoy it. Also, my Nana is a huge Frank Sinatra fan. So, fun fact.
Has your Nana seen Sinatra?
Yes. She saw Sinatra when she was 17. She snuck out of her high school, which was in Greenpoint, Brooklyn, or Williamsburg. She was growing up in Greenpoint. She snuck out, and she cut classes, and she went to go see Sinatra.
Damn. I know my great aunt, who's like 90 something now, also living in Brooklyn at that time, would see Sinatra a lot too. And it's just funny to hear. I love hearing stories from people like that who are like, I used to see Sinatra. She also talks about like constantly seeing Marlon Brando in her neighborhood, just like hanging out at stoops and shit.
Wow.
And I don't know, like, is Marlon Brando really just like walking around hanging out on stoops, or that's just,
or just like a guy in a wife beater, and she's like, hey, it's Marlon Brando.
Stella, that's me. I could have been somebody. Anyway, that vibe is great. I fucking love old Italian American women. They're the kings.
Old New York, like old, like Italian Brooklyn is such a vibe. Yeah,
which Sinatra's that vibe. So you were saying that he also makes you really happy, like listening to Sinatra. I mentioned during the Beach Boys episode how happy and joyous that music made me, and so you felt that way about Sinatra. Oh no, you felt that way about Billy Joel.
I feel that way about Billy Joel, but that's because Billy Joel was a huge part of my childhood. But like,
that's a future episode, people. I apologize for spilling the beans.
Yeah, it has yet to be recorded.
Has yet to be recorded.
But Frank also makes me happy, because like I love the like big band sound. I fucking love that big band sound. One of the things, even in high school, I really liked that big band sound. I think that I didn't really know where to find it. So one of the artists I turned to in place of Sinatra, because like pre-Spotify, it was harder to find. No, it was Brian Setzer. I mentioned him on a previous episode, and he has the Brian Setzer Orchestra, and they are they're like a big band in the stuff. They're like a big band mixed with like a rockabilly type vibe, and they were awesome. I fucking loved that album. The Dirty Boogie was the name of that album.
So I, of course, knew some hits, and he's got a big catalog, and I just knew people love him. I never really explored it too much other than the hits. And it's fun to explore. Also, when you're someone who puts out 59 albums, there's a lot of songs that are just filler. And those songs are really fun too. Even if the lyrics aren't funny, like the Come Fly With Me album is hilarious because every song is like, we're going to Hawaii, we're going to Bermuda, we're going to like Peru. And every song, or like one is just like Moonlight or like Tonight or something in Vermont. And it's like, all right, I guess we're singing about Vermont now. No offense to our Vermont listeners. And if you're an international
it's a different
listener,
vibe. It's a different
know
vibe
that Vermont is nowhere you're ever going to hear about. So
unless you're listening to like a very like indie folk album, then that you may hear Vermont, you may hear Wisconsin, you may hear the colder states.
Yeah. But so and Sinatra, there are definitely some songs that made me kind of sad too. Like he's definitely has a bunch of like albums that are very mournful sounding and
in the wee hours,
melancholia.
in the wee small hours. That album, which is like one of his most famous, is
Can you say that
a lot
album
of
name again?
In the Wee Small Hours.
Okay,
I believe. Yeah, the Wee Small Hours. Yeah, that's a sad album. There's a lot of like melancholy songs on there, and it's not nearly as big band.
No, he definitely has a varied career. And his lyrics, like, of course, we're picking funnier ones, but there's something sweet and interesting about listening to an artist who's a little bit earlier than the artist we'll talk about. You know, we've done classic rock artists, we've done early Beach Boys stuff, like early 60s, and this is someone who has a career who predates that, is in the 50s and the 40s, and even a little bit in the 30s. And it's interesting to just see people talk about love and like romance in a more buttoned up, subtle way. And that's kind of fun because it's still talking about the same things, still talking about the same feelings, the same desires, right? But it's like, you can't get away with saying the same thing. So it's kind of fun to explore that and see how he would write about that territory. Or one thing too that confuses me about Sinatra is that so many songs are also covers and standards and songs other people wrote. But clearly he had the more famous versions of so many of these songs.
Yeah, I mean, one of his most famous albums of all time, Songs for Swingin' Lovers. Not one, like, technically original Frank song on there.
Damn.
But he popularized, like, every song that's on there. I mean, you wouldn't know them from other places except for that album. Same with, like, Songs for Young Lovers. There's most of that is not original there. It's all, like, like some of it was from musicals, some of it was from movies, some of it is just like pop standards. But Frank always had the more famous version.
Cool. So let's dig into these lyrics. Before we do that, I'll say, hey, listeners at home, Sinatra stands, Lyric Boys stands, Andrew Stieglitz fan club. We know you exist. We know you're out there. If you want to just get a little bump on your phone, whatever episode of this podcast comes out, you could subscribe, you can follow, and whatever app you listen to, wherever you find this podcast, you'll get a little alert to let you know that we've dropped a new episode. We tend to do Mondays before you wake up, so you can wake up in the morning and have a great start to your week listening to the Lyric Boys podcast. I cannot possibly think of a better way to start my week. You guys know. What could be better than that? What? Nothing. So, hey. Also, it brings a smile to our faces. And look at that. For the YouTube audience, I just smiled and baby.
I'm smiling right now. This is my smile.
Yeah. Just when you guys subscribe, it makes us want to put out more hashtag content, hashtag feeling blessed. So, we love it. You love it. It's a mutual love fest. Strangers in the night. Okay. So okay. Before we get into the lyrics, I will say honorable mention to Strangers in the Night. I couldn't pick the lyrics from that song, but that song slaps. And the end of the song, Sinatra just goes, strangers in the night, doobie doo doo ba boo ba ba da boom. And it's fucking amazing.
Yes, that's such a Sinatra vibe. Just like, doobie 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 ba ba.
I love when any song has lyrics and it just descends into like, ba da da ba boo, it's me.
It's the kind of stuff I say when I'm like alone, like cleaning the house or doing the dishes, and I'm just like doobie doobie bop bow.
Doing the dishes, bow da ba 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 bow bow. We got in some soap, no, and yeah, we love it. Anyway, without further ado, you guys have been waiting. So my first Sinatra lyric comes from the album. Oh shit, this doesn't even come from an album. It's a single from 1957.
Lucian always pulling from where you never know where they're going to come from.
I like to be real cool. I like to keep people on their feet. I like to be a trendsetter, tastemaker. Man. So the song is Witchcraft. Okay?
Okay.
The lyric is, those fingers in my hair, that sly come hither stare, that strips my conscience bare. It's witchcraft. And I've got no defense for it. The heat is too intense for it. What good would common sense do? And then this is later in the song or immediately following, I forget. But he goes, because it's witchcraft. Wicked witchcraft. And although I know it's strictly taboo, when you arouse the need in me, my heart says, yes, indeed in me. Proceed with what you're leading me to. So amazing. Not only is this the invention of rap, right? Clear.
I think we determined that Bruce Springsteen invented rap, but if you want to go ahead and say Frank Sinatra invented rap, either way, we are taking it from black people, and baby, that's what we do.
we can't let the white man not have the glory for everything. We can't.
It's just like, yeah. The fucking audacity we have. So we're such fucking assholes. It's witchcraft. This has a vibe of like people in like the Salem witch trials era, like men who are just like, this girl makes my penis go up, and that's wrong. That's wrong. Church, God, it's not my fault. It's not my fault. They're fucking witches. We gotta burn them. We literally have to burn them because my pee-pee got hard, and I'm gonna go to hell for that. Maybe
it's because we spent too much time together, because I was thinking that as well. I was just imagining some man. Let's just imagine some man like getting a lap dance or something. I don't know. And he's like, what's happening downstairs? What is this feeling? Why has it grown bigger? Oh my God, you witch. I'm imagining a man in a strip club with like a co-workers from work. And for some reason they go to a strip club together. Because I think that happens. I've literally never been to one, nor do I know how they work. I've only seen The Sopranos season 1, and that is, and I've played Grand Theft Auto 5, and that's what I know about strip clubs. Okay, so
club knowledge.
But anyway,
I'm picturing a man in a tri-corner hat going to a strip club, like he's a colonial, or like the colonial hats, like you see in like Revolutionary War reenactments. I'm picturing that, but also it's like the 1600s too, right? Okay, and a man, he's like a Puritan in Massachusetts, and he walks outside and he sees a fine dame walking along the courtyard, and he gets a little flutter, and he's like, witch, God, please do not strike me to hell, okay? It's not my fault. Clearly she's a demon.
So I do like the idea that like all these people are at a strip club together or something. And like this one man is like, what's happening to me? What's happening to me? And everyone's like, what is wrong with you, Carl? Like, what do you mean? He's like, she's a witch. She is a witch. This witch has changed my body.
He stands up and everybody's like, whoa, why do you have a boner? Like, that's a boner. And he's like, I don't know what you're talking about. This has never happened. Please, somebody get me a doctor. And they're like, you are fucking rock hard right now. And he's like, I'm having a medical emergency from this witch, okay? Like, he doesn't understand the context or like how, like what a boner is.
My I can't explain it, doctor. This thing happened, and now I've got like a miniature baseball bat, and I keep walking into walls, and I'm not comfortable anymore in my tight pants, and I don't like it. So I do love, this is what I meant in the fact that like Sinatra in 57 is talking about this woman who's turning him on basically. And he's like, but he can't be okay with it. And in a later song, years later, he'd be like, this woman makes me feel something. We do it. Right. But this song, it's like, I have no defense. The heat's too intense. What good is common sense? I know it's taboo. But when you arouse the need in me, my heart says, yes, indeed, proceed with what you're leading me to. It's just like that idea. It's like,
it's a little roundabout.
It's once again imagining Jimmy Stewart and like him just being like, oh my God, lady. And she's like, you want to come to my bedroom? And Jimmy Stewart's like, oh, ma'am. I'm not even gonna do the voice because I can't fucking do the voice.
I'm trying to think about it. It'd be like,
ma'am,
this erection giving me a boner.
Give me your Jimmy Stewart voice for yes indeed, proceed with what you're leading me to.
Yes indeed. I can't do that. I can only just do like, ma'am's boner. I don't know. That's not it's not even Jimmy Stewart.
I said proceed with what you're leading me to. Anyway, that's not a voice, but I do like that. He also removes the agency from himself too. Like Sinatra's no longer like, I'm actively part of this. He's just like, I'm just following along and it's taboo and I can't stop. She's a witch and she's put a spell on my member.
And later that, like, people are like, you hear what happened to Greg from accounting? He like discovered that he can get boners. And Greg from accounting is just like still unconvinced that what happened was like a sexual phenomenon. He's just like, that's not supposed to happen, okay? This organ has one function, and what would happen if all of a sudden your tongue suddenly became 6 inches long out of your mouth, okay? That would be fucking crazy.
Also, there's something to be said about using "come hither" in a song. It's like rarely used.
Yeah.
So to call out this person's sly "come hither" stare is interesting to me. I googled "come hither," and you get adjective, flirtatious, sexually inviting, and the example in a sentence is nymphs with come hither looks, which is
nymphs.
Who wrote that example? Person at dictionary.com, fucking thinking about nymphs all the time. Fucking like get a job that's not writing definitions.
Is that guy a gamer or what?
Oh, these nymphs, you see. That witch, you see, she made my dick big, you see. And it's like, Charles, we're not running that as the headline of our 1905 version of the Daily News. Anyway, this is the part of the podcast where you realize we have problems, and we're going to Andrew Stieglitz's first lyric. Buddy, give me what you got.
Yes, my first lyric is from the song, the super ultra famous Frank Sinatra song, My Funny Valentine. And I mentioned that it's from the album Songs for Young Lovers. I mentioned that it's super ultra famous because we've heard the song. Like, people have heard the song. I've heard the song a bunch of times. Never have I think paid attention to these lyrics. Okay.
Wow. If only there were a podcast that took famous songs and made fun of the lyrics or poked fun of them, because we always seem to ignore lyrics in daily life. This would be a fucking prime opportunity.
Yeah, this is a prime example of that. So, yeah, the lyric is, My funny Valentine, sweet comic Valentine. You make me smile with my heart. Your looks are laughable, unphotographable. Yet you're my favorite work of art. Is your figure less than Greek? Is your mouth a little weak? When you open it to speak, are you smart? So basically, I always thought this was a standard love song, right? This is the most insulting fucking backhanded, like negging, seriously insulting. He's like, first of all, he says, it's like he's going like this. You're so funny. She's like, oh, why am I funny? Well, your looks are laughable. Laughable. You're unphotographable.
Your looks are laughable. Unphotographable. If someone said that to me, I'd be like, holy shit.
Holy shit.
Jesus Christ. And then like, it's a love song?
Right. And he's like, whoa, but you're my favorite work of art. Like, I'm saying I love you despite how fucking hideous you are.
That's basically being like, no one else will love you, you fucking hideous, like,
you're a monster. Yeah.
Wench. What's the word I want here?
Wench. Yeah, the wench is
you hideous wench. No one will love you because your looks are laughable. Anyway, you're my favorite work of art, so like you can't break up with me because you'll never find love again. That's why you gotta stay with me, the most mediocre man in the universe, baby.
Yeah. The most insulting man in the universe. Yeah, but then he's like, yeah, your looks are laughable. You're unphotographable. Yes. Horribly insulting. Your
just
figure
like you take a photo of this person and they just don't show up like a vampire.
The camera itself is like, whoa, buddy, I'm not gonna. I don't have time to like etch that for a half a second. Your figure is less than Greek. meaning like a Greek work of art is supposed to be beautiful,
Like a Greek
right?
statue.
You're not, yeah.
Of a beautiful nude making that motion that's like kind of looks like they're bowling.
Yeah. Yes, that's exactly what I was thinking.
Yeah.
A nude man bowling, dick out.
Is that what Greek statues are?
Yeah.
Nude, check. Bowling, check. Dick out, check.
Yeah, I went to the Met recently, and I was like, God damn, I've never seen so much cock and balls in my life.
You just sound like a tourist from Indiana who comes out of the Met and they're like interviewed by New York One. You're like, so tourist, what did you think of this great museum? You're like, oh boy, they told me New York City was different, but I've never seen this much cock or this much balls in my life.
Well, like a very gruff person from this, like, gotta tell you, man, these cock and balls flying all over my face.
I could definitely see a tough guy being like, I never go to the Met. I'm never going to the Met. Why would I want to see that much cock and balls? Yeah, like someone who's just like, I can't see that. That's like, yeah, they're definitely homophobic people. I'm sure that.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Don't go to the Greek parts of museums. They're like, listen, honey, I only care for abstract expressionism. No cock and balls in that shit. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, give me some vaginas in that art. I like that Frida Kahlo shit.
Georgia
You know
O'Keeffe, man. That's the only artist I like.
Yeah.
Those flowers also vaginas? Oh, baby. Okay. Let's bring it back for a second.
So he goes, let's bring it back to the lyrics. He goes, your figure's less than Greek, right? Your mouth a little weak.
Wow.
Super insulting. When you, and then the ultimate hilarious question, are you smart? Just to put that in a song. Are you even smart? Do you even fucking know who you're talking to? Because I'm smart. Are you smart?
I like the idea that love song that's just like slowly coming to terms with the person you're singing about is just really dumb. You're like, oh, when she walks outside, she often forgets to tie her shoes and she trips. And then when she goes to the ATM, she accidentally deposits the check that she meant to withdraw. Is she smart? Wait. Fuck, is she smart? Oh man, okay, everything I thought was charming turns out she's just incredibly dumb.
Yeah, well, it's like being like, the girl I'm dating is so funny. Oh, why is that? Well, her disproportionate features, her eyes going two different directions, hilarious. Yeah. One time I saw her writing a letter, and every word was misspelled. And there was no grammar, and she just doesn't know any word that's more than one syllable. And it's really funny. It's so charming.
Two things. One, for the part that's like unphotographable, yet you're my favorite work of art. I can imagine him being like, hey, honey, you're like a work of art. And she's like, oh, thank you. And he's like, you know, Jackson Pollock, you are Jackson Pollock. Like, you're just a mess on a canvas and you make no sense. And yet I like it. And she's like, we are getting a divorce.
Yeah.
Also,
it is so insulting. This I thought it was a fucking love song. It's on Songs for Young Lovers. It's so famous and it's so insulting.
It's also the type of thing I can imagine the singer's personality, like the lead character of this, if you will, just thinking he's like the shit, being like, I am so smart.
Yeah.
Doobie dooboo wah wah.
Listen to the lyrics I come up with. Yeah, it is. Right. It is like those guys who are just like convincing, like gaslighting their girlfriends into thinking that they're smart somehow.
Yeah. Like, hey, I know a thing or two about witchcraft, so I'm a smart king.
Oh. So give me your second lyric, my Italian American king.
On this podcast, we stand Italian Americans as two Italian Americans just trying to make it work in a world where there aren't enough Italian Americans.
I am 25% Italian, so I guess I qualify.
Oh, baby. I do feel like Italian Americans are titans of content.
Italian Americans
are like disproportionately like famous
in the industry.
Yeah.
Italian Americans and Jews, both of which are me. So
you're destined for stardom. Why? Because I'm talented? And you're like, no, because you're Italian American and you're Jewish. And you're like, oh, okay, that's weird, but thank you.
Yeah, anyway. Your guidance counselor in high school was like, you're destined for stardom, my Italian American Jew friend.
Yeah. Okay. My second lyric is from the song. Well, it's from the album "Songs for Swingin' Lovers."
I love this album. I listened to this
1956.
whole thing preparing for this.
The song is called "Makin' Whoopee," which once again is a song that is
title.
perfectly titled. Like if this song were released after 1965, I'd be like, okay, but it's 1956, so it's like it's acceptable to have a song called "Makin' Whoopee."
Yeah.
So here are the lyrics. Another bride, another June, another sunny honeymoon, another season, another reason for making whoopee. Later in the song, he's washing dishes and baby clothes. He's so ambitious, he even sews. But don't forget, folks, that's what you get, folks, for making whoopee. So,
a cautionary tale.
Cautionary tale. So the first part of the song is like, okay, bride, check. June, check. Honeymoon, check. What a perfect occasion for making whoopee.
Right. And it's also like the only time it's like, ladies and gentlemen, I am singing to you about the acceptable terms and conditions during which you can have sex.
You may only have sex during your honeymoon.
Yes.
Yes.
And after you're married, of course.
After you're married. Only that one time. Or 2 times if you want kids. 2 kids. And then it is a cautionary tale, which is so funny to me. It is so funny to me that he's like, so this man is washing dishes and baby clothes, and he's even sewing, which I'm sure back in the 50s, you're like, oh, this man sews? He's not a man. So I'm sure there's more of an insult than now in some way. Because now it's like, oh yeah, this guy sews.
But it's also like,
don't forget,
bro, I'm
folks,
sewing to get some, okay? I'm sewing to get some pussy. Wouldn't you sew for some pussy, bro?
But don't forget.
Are you gay?
Don't forget, folks. That's what you get, folks, for making whoopee. So Frank Sinatra's like, yes, you may have sex in your honeymoon, but listen, if you have sex, you're going to have a kid. That's what you get. That's the moral. You're saddled with this child. So every time you have sex, you have child. You want more sex, you have more child.
It really is a cautionary tale because he's like, listen, the only time that you can and should have sex is if you're married. But also, on second thought, don't ever have sex because you're going to have a kid. There's no other way around it.
Imagine some school in Utah. Come at me, Utah. If you're from Utah and I'm fucking insulting you, yeah, come at me. What are you going to do? What are you going to do? Not drink a beer and fucking have 8 children? Yeah, right. Yeah, come at me.
Not drink some coffee.
Anyway, I imagine like some like sex ed guidance counselor in Utah at some private school where they wear uniforms with fucking dumb collars. And the sex ed teacher is smoking a cigarette and it's just like, you kids want to know about sex? And then it just plays the song. And that's it. It's like, that's what you got to know about sex.
And
don't forget.
Cut to the kids' reactions and they're just like not blinking. Their eyes are just bloodshot and they're just like mouth agape.
Yeah. We both come from places that did not teach like scared abstinence only education, but that would be interesting. That's like what the song kind of reminds me of.
Do you think that there are still places in this country? I mean, I guess there are, right? That teach abstinence only.
Oh yeah, like 100%.
Besides like a Mormon insulated community, do you think that there's just like a regular town you would go to and they teach abstinence?
Hello, Lyric Boys stands, Lyric Boys content hounds, Lyric Boys podcast listeners. If you experienced abstinence only education, please let us know on social media on our next post that we post. Just write in the comments, I'm an abstinence king, and we'll know. We'll know that you experienced that education. Anyway, transition to you. What is your second lyric?
Okay. I do want to know. My second lyric is from the song I Get a Kick Out of You. Also from the album Songs for Young Lovers.
Wow.
The 1954 album. And keep in mind...
The 2021 version of this album would be Songs for Young Lovers, in parentheses, over 18 though.
Over 18.
Sorry. Wow.
Sorry, I just got distracted because I got a fucking text message. God damn it. All right.
Wow.
The song I Get a Kick Out of You. The lyrics are, I get no kick from champagne. Mere alcohol doesn't thrill me at all. So tell me why should it be true that I get a kick out of you? Some, they may go for cocaine. I'm sure that if I took even one sniff, it would bore me terrifically too. Yet I get a kick out of you. Let me reiterate, this song is from 1954, okay? Mm-hmm. And previously, we were talking about how sex was so taboo that Frank Sinatra was basically like, stay abstinent unless you want a kid. And if you're going to have sex, don't do it until you're married. And in this song, he's just like, coke, that ain't shit, bro.
Coke ain't nothing compared to the love we have.
Coke
with
ain't
you, we get
shit.
to make Whoopee.
But also, it's like, you hear him sing the word cocaine in his sultry Frank voice, and it really catches you off guard.
Yeah,
it's really
surprising.
Like, whoa, did you say fucking coke? Like, even songs now, I feel like radio, like, they probably bleep cocaine, or at least on like some radio stations, they'd be like, let's curb the drug use.
Even songs, songs now that mention cocaine, I'm like, damn, this person does cocaine, because like, I'm such a baby when it comes to drugs and shit that I'm just like,
yeah, I'm kind of a baby too.
Yeah, well, just like cocaine, I'm like, oh my god, that is a big thing. That's a scary big thing.
Yeah,
and for him to be like, doo-wop dooby doo, I don't do cocaine, I have you, doo-wop dooby doo, and I love that.
It's funny too, because like it's interesting, like the power of education, I guess, because we were not educated in abstinence, so therefore, like, we don't view sex as taboo at all. But we were educated in like, don't do drugs, or at least I was. And I'm sure that, right, you had some kind of like, don't do drugs
in some way, yeah, for sure.
So, so like cocaine for us, but I feel like back then, maybe I'm wrong, maybe this is a little too late, but definitely in the early 1900s, cocaine was not seen as like a taboo drug at all. People, like, doctors would prescribe cocaine. It was in fucking Coca-Cola. It was like one of the ingredients.
I don't
and so like
know
it's
when it became,
I think probably
taboo,
during well, definitely like pre-Vietnam, I think, or like right around Vietnam. And I also think obviously like the war on drugs in the Reagan era.
Great
but
band.
like, and or the like Nixon through Reagan.
Sorry, bad joke.
Pre-panned.
I said great band.
Oh, great band.
The War on Drugs.
The War on Drugs is a good band. Yeah.
Yeah, that was a bad joke, because it's obviously not what you're talking about.
But it is crazy to just think that like the perspective is flipped from the 50s. Like now we're just like, everybody's fucking, but like cocaine is scary to us, or at least to white boys. But like, anyway, I don't know where I'm going with this.
I just like that he's like, I'm sure that if I took even one sniff, it's a very innocent, sweet lyric too. It's like, I'm in so much love. If I were to inject some heroin into my veins, even just like one little injection, like, I'm sure that would be nothing compared to this love. Yeah. You know, and it's like, yeah, it'll be something.
I took mushrooms, LSD, and sniffed some coke, and I gotta say, I love you more. I'm a fucking mess right now, but I love you more.
I like the idea that this is like a vow at a wedding.
Yeah. And the family is like horrified. They're like, what? We didn't know that you were into this crazy shit. Who are you marrying here?
Andrew, would you like to hear my third Frank Sinatra lyric?
I guess.
It's
if I have to.
Wow, okay.
That's the podcast, right?
That's
okay.
the podcast. This is the format. That's what people sign up for. Okay, we got to give them what they sign up for, because people have expectations. If you don't meet those expectations, you let them down. And if you let them down, then you're less of a person. My third lyric is from Luck Be a Lady Tonight, which is a song that was originally composed in 1950 by this dude, Frank Sinatra, first performed by Robert Alda. But no one knows that. No one cares about that. We love the Frank version.
Yeah, I mean, most of these songs that we're doing, or at least the ones I'm doing, were not originally written for or by Frank.
Mm-hmm. So apparently this is in Guys and Dolls, which was made into a movie, it's a musical, and one was made into a movie in 1955. It starred Sinatra. So that also, there's like, okay, he fucking starred in this movie. Everyone loves him. So the lyric is, a lady doesn't wander all over the room and blow on some other guy's dice. Let's keep this party polite. Never get out of my sight. Stick with me, baby. I'm the guy you came in with. Luck be a lady tonight. So, a couple things going on here. One is just like, this guy is like never fucking leave my sight. Like I'm sure he's gambling at the casino, right? And he's like having a good time. And his date is like, hey, while you're gambling, can I just like go like refill my drink and maybe like talk to my other friends we came in with? He's like, don't, stick with me. I'm the guy you came in with. You cannot hang out with anyone else. So a little bit controlling, but I'm curious if there's innuendo with a lady doesn't wander all over the room and blow on some other guy's dice. Do you think that is innuendo, or do you think that's just genuinely like don't give other people?
No, I mean there's definitely innuendo there, but it is also. I mean, yeah, I think there's for sure innuendo. Blow on some other guy's dice, as in literally blow on, like, you know, you blow the dice when you're playing craps, but also like blow on some other guys. Maybe something. I
don't know.
Maybe it's pee-pee. I don't know.
Yeah. Anyway, I thought this was interesting because when I listened to that, I'm like, that does seem innuendo filled, and it was interesting to me.
The word blow is just like so aggressive in any sense of like, no matter what.
Oh yeah, any rock song that uses blow is doing an innuendo. It's never like, oh baby, you can blow them away with your blowing skills at blowing people away. It's like never like, okay.
But even that sounds so aggressive. Like when you say blow me away, there's that, what is it? Pink has that song that's like blow me one last kiss. And it's like, wow, that's so aggressive. Even just
that
like
sounds aggressive, really.
To me it does. Blow me one last kiss.
Is there a big pause? Like, blow me one last kiss.
No, it's not that big. But in any case, the innuendo, well, because he goes, let's keep this party polite, which is like, listen, the polite thing to do would not only be to not ever leave my fucking sight, okay, but also, like, you're going around, you blew on this guy's dice, like, he was gambling, and you just, like, you gave him some of your luck. How do I know? Like, this guy is so jealous. He's like, how do I know you're not going to, like, go up to his room later? Maybe you want to blow on his dice. Maybe you want to blow on his fucking chest. Maybe you want to blow on his balls, okay? And she runs away.
She's like, you need therapy. He's like, I know that.
I've been working through jealousy issues, okay? It's not manly enough to go to therapy.
Honey. You want to give me your third Frank Sinatra lyric?
Yeah, my third Frank Sinatra lyric is from the song Old Devil Moon from Songs for Swinging Lovers.
Ooh.
Not Songs for Young Lovers. Songs for Swinging Lovers came a couple years later in 1956. I look at you, and suddenly, something in your eyes I see soon begins bewitching me. It's that old devil moon that you stole from the skies. It's that old devil moon in your eyes.
All right, so there's a world where Frank Sinatra is not comfortable getting erections, and he has to blame them on something else.
He has to blame it on witchcraft.
It's a witchcraft, the devil moon,
sorcery. That old devil moon. It's also so funny that he says, you stole the moon from the skies. Like, he's like, Your Honor, priest, judge, whoever, God Almighty, who is judging me for having this hellish and demonic erection right now. Okay. Let me prove to you it is from a witch, okay? Not only did she change the composition of my penis, but she stole the moon. Do you see the moon? There's no moon out tonight. Why? Because this witch stole it. And then they behead her.
It is this type of period where it's like it's almost like all these songs have this vibe that's like, you're making me feel these things, but it's taboo, or it's wrong for me to feel these things, but it's like kind of okay. But as long as I pretend it's not okay. It's like these songs are still ending in the same place with them like making out, making love, whatever. Mm-hmm. But it's like he has to defend that as like a amoral, immoral thing, which is kind of interesting. It's basically like, it's basically like him just being like, this isn't right for me to do it, and she's a witch, siren, wench. Sorry, baby. I just have to say that so people are okay with us having sex out of wedlock. She's a witch.
And let me just say, the phrase "Makin' Whoopee" is disgusting to me.
Do you know?
It reminds me of two people sitting in a bed farting together.
It makes me think of The Sims for some reason. I feel like that's what they call sex in that game. Do you know? Okay, so there is a hockey team from Macon, Georgia. Famously, they're not around anymore, but they're famously called the Makin' Whoopee, which is hilarious to me.
Yeah, that's funny. But yeah, Whoopee. It's like Macon. It's like, cause it's like a whoopee cushion. It's just so
out of date now. You know, like if there's other euphemisms for sex that are also equally as strange, but it's just like making whoopee is so out of date. It feels like it's a funny term. It's not one that like I feel like people today are going to be like, "Hey, honey,
what are your
other
make
whoopee?"
Well, what other euphemisms do you prefer, or like what are the strange ones rather that you said? I mean, hooking up, I don't think is that strange.
Yeah, but at some point that's going to feel strange. People are going to be, that's so outdated.
Hooking up's been around for like decades, though.
Do you want to know my fourth Frank Sinatra lyric? Because it also involves the moon. So in this one, she stole the moon. Mm-hmm. So this is something, I'll say the lyric first, and then I'll give some good humorous commentary that our audience signs up for. It is from the album. I don't know the album, but this is a 64 version. It's Fly Me to the Moon, in parentheses.
I think this is just a single. It was probably on an album too, but
in parentheses, in other words. Fly me to the moon, let me play among the stars, let me see what spring is on. Sorry. Fly me to the moon, let me play among the stars, let me see what spring is like on a Jupiter and Mars. In other words, hold my hand. In other words, baby, kiss me. So this is one thing I think Sinatra does really interestingly a lot of his songs, and we haven't really had lyrics like this, but the way he kind of talks about these feelings, you know, like there's like people talk about like, oh, butterflies in my stomach, right? The way he talks about love and these feelings of love or lust or whatever, it's a very much, it's big. It's very big. And I kind of imagine just like people in the 50s being like, yeah, man, that's what love is. Like like your Nana listening to this and being like really swooning and being like, oh, Frank, oh my God. There's just something so funny comparing the feelings of holding hands and the feeling of kissing to flying to the moon, being in the stars, seeing what spring is like on Jupiter and Mars. Like that is so interesting to me. It is so big. It is so big. And it's like kind of a sweet romantic view that's like just holding hands with Frank and he's like in the clouds.
And also maybe he's like, listen, you witch, you devil seducing witch, if you can change the physical composition of my penis and you can steal the moon, I don't see a moon out tonight. If you did this, you could do that. What else can you do? Fly me to fucking Jupiter and Mars. All right. I get it. You're a witch. Let's go. Then let's fucking go. She leaves him immediately.
It's just very fun. It's like I could easily imagine like someone listening to music at the time being like, oh, it's so romantic. It's so beautiful. What's not as beautiful as this and similar is like when the moon hits your eyes like a big pizza pie, that's amore. That's a similar thing, right?
Yeah.
This is like more romantic. It's like I'm playing amongst the moon and the stars versus like the moon hitting your eyes like a big pizza pie. That is what love is. And then, yeah. So there is a fine line between the cheesiness and the romantic. And I think Frank rides that wave kind of like a jet ski master, you know?
He does. He's fly me to the moon. I mean, he's either literally asking or he is playfully hinting that love is like being in outer space where you have no oxygen and you can't breathe and you're like, get me the fuck out of here.
perhaps. You want to give me your fourth?
Yeah. My fourth lyric is from the song I Get Along Without You Very Well, from the album In the Wee Small Hours, which is in the Library of Congress, I believe. It was like one of the first albums put in the Library of Congress.
Heard of it?
Heard of it. I get along without you very well. Of course I do. Except perhaps in spring. But I should never think of spring, for surely that would break my heart in two.
Damn.
Yeah, it's just funny that he's like, I have moved on from our relationship. I don't need you at all. And then like the first thing he looks at in the house is like, except for this mug. This mug makes me think of you. But no, I can't think of that. Anyway, I'm way better.
He's like, I'm just so over you. Like, who needs you, please? Who could possibly need you? Except when spring comes. When spring comes, I'm going to be so incredibly depressed. But let's never talk about spring, okay?
Yeah,
okay.
It was just
I'm
like
so
everything reminds him of her. And he's just like trying to convince her someone. She's like, I am so done with our relationship. I don't even think about all the good times we had sitting at this very table right here.
It is funny that what happened to him in spring? Who hurt you? What season hurt you, Frank? Spring. Why spring? Well, you know, the Easter Bunny reminds me of her.
Yeah. Maybe he was in a relationship with the Easter Bunny.
Yeah, we've all been there. All right, you want to hear my last one? You want to hear my fifth and final Frankie Sinatra lyric?
Flowing through it.
It's from The Look of Love from the album Softly As I Leave You from 1964. Amazing title for an album. And so The Look of Love. I have like a fair amount of lyrics from this because that was all very funny.
Do it.
I've seen the look of a baby with a rattle. I've seen the look of a hero in a battle. I've seen the look of a heartsick turtle dove. But the look that leaves you real shook is the look of love. I've seen the look of a jockey on a winner. I've seen the look of a fat man having dinner. I've seen the look of those spacemen up above, but the look that closes the book is the look of love. It's thunder, it's lightning, the gentlest breeze. It's friendly, it's frightening, and more surprising than an elephant's sneeze.
Sounds like it got a little Dr. Seussy at the end there.
It did feel like Dr. Seuss. Yeah, I was like, damn, this slaps.
Yeah.
Thank you. It's like a Theodore Geisel, am I right?
Yeah.
So I do think it's so funny. There's some things in this. Well, one that surprised me is him saying, but the look that leaves you real shook is the look of love. Just shook. I think of such a modern, the way people use shook now. But of course, in the 50s, like, oh man, this leaves you shook. And it was kind of interesting to see that in this song. It took me by surprise.
Funny, yeah.
Also, there's no song right now that would come out that's like, it's the look of a fat man having dinner. And it's like
of all these things, it's so beautiful, right? It's
yes.
thunder, it's lightning, it's the gentlest breeze, it's spacemen in space. It's like a very new thing. It's a jockey on a winner. It's a fucking fat piece of shit eating a burger for the 80th time.
And it's like, wow, okay.
Yeah, that's so aggressive. That is so aggressive for no reason.
Things that like have the most love in their eyes. He's like, fat man eating dinner. Okay, yes, that is
so insulting. It's so insulting. He's like trying to find metaphors, and he like looks up at the restaurant, and there's like a guy eating a burger. He's like, look at that fat piece of shit. Reminds me of being in love. He's like, man. He goes over and he's like, man, you must love that burger as much as I love my woman right now.
The person's like, it's fine.
It's like, well, I can see there's no girl with you here because clearly you're enough man for 2 meals. Am I right?
Yeah. So I think it's so funny just suddenly to have that. But also like the look of love is more surprising than an elephant's sneeze.
Yeah.
Like, so
yeah, that's a very nursery rhyme type. I like that.
Are you ready for the inappropriate joke? Are we ready, podcast stands? Get ready for the inappropriate joke.
Drum roll, please.
Bum, 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 bum. This is a song dedicated to the O face.
Okay.
There you go. It's Sinatra.
He's like, wow.
Surprises him.
I am shook by the face you make when you have an orgasm.
Yeah, that's what it is. That's what it is. Because later in the song too, he's like, he loves being locked in a wondrous embrace, and that look on that fabulous face. It's the one look that he'd give his life to see. It's the O face.
It very well could be. I like it.
That's my joke.
I like it.
That's my joke.
You want to hear my fifth
lyric?
lyric?
Get through a lyric without making it sexual because we have problems.
But also, like every fucking lyric we do, I you know, again, I've come back to this theme, but like I did not know or realize like is how many lyrics are just straight up about sex. There's so many.
If you think about it, it's what it runs the world. It runs babies. We need babies. Mm-hmm. It's evolutionary. It's the one thing. So all songs are just like, we're just like men writing music are just like peacocks showing their feathers.
Kind of.
To evolutionary make more babies. And that's the cost of making Whoopee. And it all is just about that. It is just
about making Whoopee.
Music is nothing but Whoopee making.
Lucian Flores, 2021.
That's right.
You want to hear my fifth and final lyric?
Yes.
It's from the song What a Funny Girl You Used to Be. That song title jumped out at me. Yeah. It's from a random album from 1970, and I don't even remember. The album is called oh God. Fucking,
it doesn't matter. Just give me the lyric.
Okay. Yeah, so the lyric is you always looked a little out of place, all grown up with freckles on your face. We'd spend each night with company, just you, the teddy bear, the dolls, and me. What a funny girl you used to be.
Interesting.
Just digest that for a little bit.
Well,
you know, it's...
I was wondering about it a little bit. I'm like, is this a song about, like...
No,
kid,
it's not.
But it's all grown up with freckles on your face. Yeah.
I think it's about like maybe like a daughter. But it also just like so freaky. We'd spend the night with company, just you, the teddy bear, and the dolls, and me. Doesn't that sound like a horror movie to you? Just
it
like
does
me,
kind of. It's like the teddy bear that stares at me.
These haunted
that
fucking
doll
dolls.
that eyes follow me around the room. Yeah. It's a little scary. I'm imagining like thunder outside and like the light through the window silhouettes all the dolls and makes their shadows gigantic on the wall. And you're just like, oh, it moved. It's imagining if you're like tucking your daughter into sleep at night, because we both have daughters and we both know that sense of love and what life means. Am I right? When you tuck your daughter in at night and suddenly all the bears are just staring at you as you're like reading a novel. And you're like, oh my God, your dolls are terrifying. We didn't buy those for you. They just showed up in your house.
Yeah. Well, after this, the girl is like, Dad, there were never any teddy bear or dolls. I don't know what you're talking about. And then he just looks into the camera and he's like, dun dun dun.
I'm creeped out. I'm freaked out right now.
Yeah, I just thought it's so funny to put in a Frank Sinatra song. Like his voice mixed with some of these lyrics, right, is kind of where the humor comes from, because you hear Frank Sinatra being like the teddy bear, the dolls. It's just funny. It's just it's like incongruent.
Well, yeah, I mean, half of the fun of making Whoopee is him just saying making Whoopee a lot. Like, what world do you get to hear Frank? Like, I am grateful that Frank Sinatra, there's a song that exists where he gets to say making Whoopee a lot. I am glad that I exist in a world, in a society, in just like the United States of America in 2021,
Right in
where
this
this
time.
past history exists, where this man, this Italian-American king from Hoboken, New Jersey, could have a career where he can put out a song, put out a ditty called Makin Whoopee.
It is a ditty. These
I can
are
just
all
find
ditties.
that on my Spotify. That's what like makes me happy.
I think ditty is the appropriate word for every single Frank Sinatra song. They're ditties.
I do imagine him being like, check out this ditty, and just like snapping along, singing it. Ditty, or like, check out this number. And you're
Number
like,
for
great.
sure, yeah. The teddy bears, the dolls. What time is it, Lucian?
It is time for us to create and come up with our own Frank Sinatra lyrics. So this part of the podcast, we take like a good 30 seconds to like 2 minutes, and we just improvise and jot down thoughts and try to create what we think of as Frank Sinatra lyrics based on what we learned today. So these are improvised. We did not come up with these earlier. They're just off the dome in about like 2 minutes. So
Getting my notebook out.
I feel like part of this is hard is like, sometimes it's like easier to sing it. There's like, if I'm improvising Sinatra, I'll be like, boo ba doo da doo.
Sing it, do it. It adds to it.
I'm gonna mute myself. Or should I just improvise it? Should I just improvise without writing anything down?
Do you want to do that? Do you want to improvise instead of writing? Oh,
fucking try that.
Fuck yeah, let's do it. All right, only for Frank, because I feel like Frank is like, okay.
So normally, Lyric Boys audience, this is the part of the podcast where we would sit back for like 2 minutes and try to write our own version of Frank Sinatra lyrics, and then come back and be like, how'd we do? But we want to just try to improvise our Frank Sinatra lyrics without even spending 2 minutes. So these are just top of the dome. Let's see what happens. Okay,
here we go.
You're sorry. Okay.
You want to go first? Go first.
Wow, I thought you were about to go first. Okay. Okay. Arrivederci, I'm in Rome with my baby girl by my side. We're passing domes. And at night she hands me the phone and says, who's this other wench? Her name is Susan. And I say, I'm out of here, motherfucker. Boom.
Great.
Love
it. All right, here we go. Are you ready? I'm trying to think of rhymes. Here we go. Give me a beat.
I was just doing Strangers in the Night.
When I saw your face, my heart, it started swinging. And little girl, for you, it's this song I'm singing. I just want to make a whoopee all night. Yeah. So please, little girl, don't put up a fight. Ho-ho. Don't go around blowing on some other guy's dice. No. 'Cause what I think about you is that's not really nice.
That's pretty good. That's pretty good. That's good. That's good. The greatest hits.
That was fun. I kind of like doing that. I feel like it's gonna make me become a freestyle rapper.
Yeah, and then we'll have to put you down.
You know what's funny is I think that initially the idea we had when we were first conceiving of the podcast was that we would improvise the lyrics, but we pretty quickly started to write them down because it was easier. But I think this was the initial idea, was just to do it off the top of the head.
I don't exactly.
I'm pretty sure it was.
Oh, maybe it was. Okay.
I'm pretty sure it was.
I feel like mine wasn't that good, and I should do another one. But
yours was good. Yours was good.
Yeah, but then he just said, "Motherfucker, Frank Sinatra doesn't do that." I gotta be true to my school.
All right, be true to your school. Do another one. Here, ready? I'll give you a beat.
Oh, baby, you and me were in Hoboken tonight. We're making whoopee on the couch. I got a token for you.
That's like if Frank Sinatra was a rapper. It's like, we in Hoboken. I got a token.
I don't. Let's do it again because it's hard not to make
Keep to the beat. Keep to the beat. Ready? Here we go. Down out, down out, down out, down out, down out.
Doobie doop. Do da bow bow.
Down out, down out. Lady, my lover. Just like shit like that, right?
Yeah.
Ready? Here we go.
Continue.
Trumpet section's getting a little tired over here.
I don't like your backing beat, okay?
That's fucking Frank. What do you want me to do?
All right. Give me a different one. No, I don't want that. I want a good Sinatra backing beat, not that trash Sinatra backing beat.
Do you want just like a jazz drum beat?
Give me something. Okay, go back to the first one. I like that better. I regret what I said.
I'm not going to give you a beat.
Wow. Rootin', tootin', and making noise from my mouth again. People wondering why I play with toys. It's 'cause I'm a man-child, baby. Come rock me tonight. Baby, don't you know that I can't feed myself? I'll starve without a lady cooking and cleaning for me. 'Cause goddamn, I'm a wreck. I get food all over the place and my house is filled with dishes and I got mice. I don't have a house except for this mansion, and baby, it's a mess and it's falling apart, and I'm a king from Hoboken.
Nice.
I think
that song was called
about
Italian American King.
I think my second song about Hoboken was really good until I couldn't think of a word other than snatch, and I don't know what's wrong with me. All right, what a podcast episode. So that was the Lyric Boys doing a deep dive into old Blue Eyes himself, Frank Sinatra, Italian American King. We love him. So listen, if you enjoy that, if you want to hear more of this lyric comedy, it's a unique brand of comedy and music. Wow, who else does that? I don't know. I have no idea. Please tell us who does that, because we gotta give them a cease and desist or just stop them. So yeah, if you enjoy this podcast, we do this regularly. We do this with other artists. We do it with artists from all genres. We do Frankie Sinatra, a little classic crooner action, but we do like modern indie bands, we do hip hop bands, we do classic rock artists, we do artists from all over the spectrum, and we just dive into their most crazy, most insane lyrics, and it's a fun time. And if you are a fan, do me a favor and just subscribe to this podcast, and we'll deliver this episode metaphorically to your door. Once again, metaphorically. We will never actually meet you, theoretically, but we will deliver this to your ears metaphorically. So follow us. We're on Spotify. We're on iTunes. We're whatever you're listening to right now. We're there. We are also on Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, Facebook, Twitter, at The Lyric Boys. So if you want to go there and at us and say, hey guys, you were looking real nice in this podcast episode, you can do that, and we'll respond and say thank you. Or you can say like, hey, I was listening to your podcast and I had some sort of existential crisis about my place in the universe, and I'll be like, oh man, that sucks. So yeah, reach out to us. We engage with our folks, our stans, our friends, and yeah, we'll see you next week. We'll see you next Monday.
Ladies and gentlemen, that's correct. Also, if you like...
Is that just a mesh? Should I just do that again?
No, that was good.
Okay, thank you.
If you like the track, the jam, the ditty, the number playing underneath... I was going to ask,
what is this number?
This number is a little ditty I composed for the Lyric Boys podcast, but I have other numbers, other demo ditties, at freelancerbandny.bandcamp.com or freelancer band in SoundCloud, or Google it, freelancer.
Yeah, Google it.
Freelancer. It's a musical project under which I create some songs. If you like the song that's playing now, I guarantee you're going to like the others because they're like real songs.
Amazing. All right, we'll be back. We'll be back with some more musical comedy, and we look forward to seeing you next week.
Goodbye.
Have a great time.